Hi everyone, Masha here, and today I'm reviewing the Golden Open Acrylics, and I want to show you how they're different from regular acrylics, kind of explain it a little bit, and also I will be swatching the set I have, and I made a painting with them. And if you want to follow the painting process, I will link in the description to the separate video of the process. So Golden Open comes in individual tubes of different volume and also in sets. Now they are mostly focusing on 3 sets, which is like introductory basic set. There is also mixing set that comes with colors in warm and cool shades, the primaries, and some additional colors. So it's best for learning mixing, blending, and like color theory with that, and also a landscape set, which is of course made specifically for painting landscapes indoors or plein air. The set I got is called traditional set, and those I think are not available currently on Amazon and actually on their official website, so I'm not sure if they stopped completely manufacturing them or it's the regional thing, because I bought this set in Japan, but in other Asian countries, because I'm now traveling through Asia and staying here, I have not seen the traditional set, but I've seen only individual tubes open from Open series for sale. So yeah, this is a traditional set. It comes with 6 colors. There is no black color, but there is the crimson, the yellow, the white, the blue, sap green, and Van Dyke brown. And as I said, no black. And those colors are best to use for landscaping as well, as I will show you my example. And of course, let's start with tubes and also see how they are different from regular acrylics. So first of all, the difference is the tubes. As you can see, Golden Open comes in a black tube and it clearly says open, and regular acrylics come in white tube and it has like golden here. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. They have the same metal, very sturdy, nice tube. However, don't really squeeze it too much. This was how they traveled. This is not, of course, I did this with my hands, but I think if during shipping it would have been squeezed even more, it can burst. So otherwise they're pretty sturdy. Those are 22 milliliter tubes, which is I think a good size, especially for professional acrylics. When you don't really use a lot of them, you can save the amount of used paint if you mix them with golden gag or any other acrylic medium or extender. So this is a decent tube to start, and especially for test painting. So yeah, other than that, they are pretty much similar. And what is also a difference between open acrylics and regular golden acrylics, that open colors, some of them tend to be less opaque than regular colors, and you can see it. Let me check. This is black one, this is yellow. So for example, yellow, yes, they are different yellows from regular and open sets, but this yellow from regular colors is semi-transparent, while the yellow from open acrylics is completely transparent. And also the difference is in white. Where's the white? Here's the white. The regular white, as we used to, it's completely opaque, and you can see the fully covered colored square, but the white in open series is semi-opaque. So what does it mean actually in terms of colors? Let's see on the color swatch. Alright, let's test the colors of the Golden Open acrylics. I have, as always, my pre-printed like swatches template, and I'll be testing all the 6 colors just to see how well they cover the paper, how easy they are to apply, also how soon they will dry. I will set up a timer and Also, how opaque they are. We know that most of them are transparent, semi-transparent, and only like two colors, Van Dyke and white, are semi-opaque. So I do not expect to see anything extraordinary opaque now, but still, let's see how well they will perform. I'm starting randomly from the bottom with sap green, and I dipped my brush in water just like a little bit, so this is pretty much what the coverage will be with almost a dry brush. They do feel like oil a little bit, and they even look oily. So with a thin layer, it is semi-transparent, just as the tube says. But if you apply a few layers, a thick layer of the paint, which of course will dry even longer, we cannot exceed a 2 millimeter a layer with Open Acrylics, because that will dry too slow. So I don't think this is a 2 milliliter, it's definitely less, but anyway, it is a thicker application than on top, and you can see how the opacity is immediately different. This is, I would even say that this is quite semi-opaque more than semi-transparent, but I see what they mean by that. And with a slightly thicker layer, it will be also more semi-opaque. Of course, not completely opaque, but anyway, let's keep moving. I already had some brown Van Dyke on my palette that was sitting there also, I think, for almost an hour already, and it is still workable. I mean, maybe not as workable as freshly out of the tube paint, but as you can see, it still applies with a dry brush. And of course, this is something that we would never be able to have with just regular acrylic paint, because it will be, of course, by that time already dry. And this is just with a little bit of water, a thinner application, just to show you. This Van Dyke is supposed to be semi-opaque, as we see on the tube. And I agree, it is. I think on the video it may even look quite opaque, but you can still see through the black line. So it is indeed semi-opaque. Let's see the white. Normally the white is the most opaque color in the set. Here it is not completely opaque, it is semi-opaque, as we see on the tube. It is semi-opaque, as you can see also from my application. If we will make it a little bit thicker, the applications, as I'm still using a dry brush, and not too thick of a layer, not like in pasta textured. Yeah, it will be more opaque, but still semi-opaque, but very good coverage anyway for a semi-opaque paint. As it is a special set, it is a traditional set. It's now, I think they don't really sell it anymore. They only left, I think, the intro set, the mixing set, and also landscape set. Probably the landscape would be the closest to this one, but still they have different colors. So that's why I have sort of a weirder palette. In my set, it's a shades of primaries like India yellow, alizarin, and ultramarine, and I also have dark, nice sap green, and brown, white, and no black. This is India yellow. It's supposed to be fully transparent. As we can see, it is transparent. It is a very nice yellow, almost like brown yellow, you can say. And that's just with a little bit more water. There's more yellow, very warm, like kind of Van Gogh style yellow. As you can see, really nice coverage, but it is a transparent shade, transparent color. Let's see some ultramarine blue. Ultramarine blue in Open Acrylics is semi-transparent, but it is quite a dark color, so semi-transparency for ultramarine blue will not be the same as, for example, if it would be yellow. But you can very clearly see that this is semi-transparent color. Just with water to show you how it can be thinned. Very nice blue color. And the last one I have in my set is alizarin red, crimson. It's a very dark, almost like Bordeaux like red. Closer to cooler colors already, but it's still very beautiful, and it is also fully transparent for the Open Acrylics. And as you can see, as it is dark, it does look quite semi-transparent, but it will be in layering or on glazing, it will be transparent. So as you can see, they're all pretty much transparent colors. They can work well with water, and it will be even more transparent color, but the coverage is very nice with a little bit of water. You can also use acrylic medium and golden gag to improve the flow if you need, but they really do apply very easily, very nicely. Maybe some sort can remind you of oils, especially the Van Dyke brown. It does look a little bit oily to me, and they do dry very slowly on the swatch, so I will set it aside to see how long it would take them to dry in thin and a little bit thicker layers. I just want to quickly feel how they are for mixing. And yeah, I'm just trying a little bit of yellow and green. Or some red and ultramarine blue that will make nice purple. As it is a traditional set, all colors are quite muted, but still the same color theory rules and mixing rules apply to them. And because they are slow drying, you have much more time to mix nice colors. Of course, mixing with white, we will see a more opaque color, because white always increases the opacity, and we can see that we mixed ultramarine and white, and the opacity is much more than in just regular ultramarine. And it is a nice sky blue that we get in here. The sap green is very overpowering, so I think when mixed with other colors it needs to have a good ratio of other color, because whatever I'm mixing, it stays very green. Very easy to mix. It does remind oils a lot. It's a Van Dyke brown with some white. Again, very nice color. And I'm still using that Van Dyke brown that I squeezed 1 hour ago on that palette, and it is perfectly fine. It has no drying out intentions as of now, so it's very nice. It's brown with a sap green. As you can see, they're both quite powerful colors, and they're both quite opaque compared to others. So yeah, very nice for mixing. I like the colors. They all stay within the same mood of the palette as we have here, the traditional, a little bit toned down, a little bit muted, subdued colors, which is very nice, I think, if you prefer these colors. And as I said, mixing with white makes the color more opaque, so if you are not satisfied with the opacity of the colors, you can mix in a little bit of white, or make a first layer of white. And of course, when we have gessoed canvas, the white will help increase the vibrancy and the opacity of the colors sometimes. So here how all the colors look dry. Of course, the camera will not do it 100% justice. Yellow looks much brighter and much orange on camera than it is in real life. And as you can see, the white, as we discussed, is not as opaque as you can expect. It is semi-opaque, so mostly all the colors from the open set are semi-opaque. You can see the blue, the red, yellow, of course, they're usually naturally transparent. The sap green and the Van Dyke are probably the most opaque colors from this set, especially if you will layer like 2 coats of it, as I did with green. You can achieve a more opaque finish. With brown, same. The brown is just dark by itself, but if you will really look closer, you can still see the black line, so it is still not fully opaque. But also about the use with water or with medium for more transparency and like a wash-like application, you can do that, and it's really nice. It doesn't have any borders, visible borders, so the colors, even watered down, looks very nicely, covers the paper very nicely. And even with a dry brush, As you can see, the coverage is very nice and they dried really nice. And even the mixed colors that I did, a few of them, the mixing is super easy, as we saw. And of course, if we mix in with white, yeah, the color will become more opaque. As we know, mixing or layering the white before another color may increase opacity, and it's exactly the case. So all the new colors are very nice. I really like them, and these two colors were mixed with white, so you can see they're much more opaque than individual colors. For example, this blue was mixed with white, and you can see how much more opaque it is. So I really liked the swatches, really like the colors, and as you can see, it's not bright colors. It's really a traditional set to me for some landscape work, because they are muted, they're not really bright. So for classical, for traditional painting, exactly, that will be perfect. I really like the set of colors. And I wanted to go back to tubes. I also discuss a little bit the toxicity of paints. Acrylic paint in general is non-toxic, and we can know it because we will see the non-toxic label here, either a round label or the wording conforms to ASTM 4236. So it means that the paint is non-toxic. However, if you will also read the safety use advice, most of the paint can be sprayed. I would not advise it, but even if you will decide to thin it for airbrush and spray it, you better use like a dust mask or protective mask for even like epoxy thing, because inhaling these fumes can be dangerous, and especially if you have extra sensitivity for harmful stuff and vapors. So it is not really advised. And of course, open acrylics and regular acrylics, they have slightly different composition. The open acrylics, they have more agents that keep them moist. And of course, to the most important question, these open acrylics, they're supposed to be slow drying. So how long does it take for them to dry? Well, I tested them, of course, just on paper in my sketchbook. And I left a thin layer for about 1 hour, and then I tried to go with a wet brush over it. As you can see, you can easily lift the color just with a slightly wet brush. So if you will go over it like with more pressure, you will definitely lift it. And on a palette, on a regular plastic palette, I left a blob of paint, and it was still wet after a full day. So the next day it started to set up a little bit, to harden a little bit, but it was still workable. And if you add a little bit of open thinner, open medium, or just regular GAC or acrylic medium, you can make it workable again. So I was very surprised, because to be honest, I was quite skeptical. You know, even with regular acrylics, most of brands are saying that they will stay wet for around 30 minutes. It never happens. They normally dry to touch within 5 minutes. So that is really rare when acrylic paint really stays workable for longer than 30 minutes. So I was very skeptical about the open paints, but wow, I was very impressed. It stays wet on a palette for a long time. It stays wet on paper or on canvas for a longer time than regular acrylics, up to 1 hour easy, and maybe a little bit longer. And if you're just squeezing it out on a palette, you can rework this paint for days, probably, especially if you will spray it, mist it with water, and wrap it with plastic. It will stay wet for days, some say for weeks. I didn't try the weeks time frame, but people say it is doable. But within hours that we can really work on landscape or on portrait, it does stay wet. So that was, I absolutely was shocked in a good way. And it really helps you work, mix, paint without any worries. But as the brand also says, and as you can probably guess, that it can also be a curse. You cannot use open acrylics, unlike regular acrylics, for any textured impasto techniques or any thick application, because when I squeezed this blob on a palette and it stayed wet for minimum 1 day, and if I left it there, it could be still workable maybe for the whole week. It also means that on a canvas or on paper, it will dry really slow. But what we know about acrylics, while they're drying, it may occur some cracking, some hairs can come down, it collects dust brilliantly. So the longer the paint stays wet, the more problems we can face. So it can be quite challenging if you will use it in thick layers. And Golden themselves, they say do not use thick layers, just a regular thin application with a quite more transparent layers. So that's what I guess the most important thing. Do they really work as a slow drying paint? They do, and it's just absolutely excellent job they're doing. Definitely longer than any regular acrylics. So how does it perform? As I said, there is a separate video on how I was painting this beautiful loose landscape with these acrylics. I must say, when I was writing my full review, and I also will link to it in the description, a lot of people were asking if Golden Open are like oils, and I was again skeptical. I was like, well, acrylics and oils are super different. Kind of weird question, but anyway. But when I was painting, and even when you squeeze in Golden Open on a palette and mix it and work with it, especially, I would say, especially the brown. Where is the brown? Yes, the Van Dyke brown. I feel like Van Dyke brown and sap green, they feel like oil the most. They almost have this oily feeling to them when you squeeze them, when you work with them. Of course, it's still acrylic paint, it is not oil paint, but the time frame, how you work with it, how easy it is to work with it and apply it in a loose and a very nice thin layers, it does remind oil painting a lot. Well, especially the drying time, right, as I said. And I also did an underpainting for this specific acrylic painting, which also kind of reminded me of a traditional oil painting or acrylic painting. And as you can see, it worked amazingly. And for the whole session, I did not mist my palette with any water. I barely dipped the brush in water just to make maybe the paint flow a little bit better on canvas. But the Open Acrylics had absolutely beautiful coverage and so easy to layer them. Of course, this is kind of a loose canvas, or loose landscape painting, I'm sorry. But it did really felt like really enjoyable to work with Open Acrylics, and I'm now considering buying more colors so I can use it on a bigger canvas to paint other things, because I mostly do abstract work because I really love abstract art. But with Golden Open, I really want to make something more realistic because they are easy and enjoyable to work with. Yes, downside, they're quite pricey, but when I was comparing the prices for sets and individual tubes on Amazon or Blick, they do not really differ from Golden regular paints. And weirdly enough, I saw some regular sets going for more expensive than Open Acrylics. So price-wise, they both quite pricey. But if you're really struggling with drying time with acrylics, and because even with regular acrylics, even when I'm using GAG 100, it does extend the drying time, but not that much as when you're using Open Acrylics. As I said, for the whole session, the Open Acrylics stayed wet. I didn't have to worry about anything. So if it is your struggle, or you really love oils and just switch to acrylic paint and find it frustrating to work with, I would suggest you start with a Golden Open, especially if you already worked with oils, so you kind of know the basics how to paint. And Golden Open will really help you enjoy acrylics. And as soon as you will feel comfortable with switching to regular acrylics, if anytime, because you don't have to, the Open Acrylics, they have, I think, around 80 colors, and there are a few metallic ones. Yeah. So they have quite a lot of colors, and a few iridescent ones, just 6, like copper, bronze, 2 gold, pearl, and silver. So there is a variety of colors you can work with, and the colors are really nice. As I said, they tend to be a little bit more transparent than a regular Golden acrylic paint. But anyway, even on this canvas painting, you can see the underpainting through, which was kind of my intention, but you don't really say that the colors are completely transparent. They are pretty opaque anyway, and as you can see, there is no cracking. I cannot say that all of these layers are super thin. Some was probably a little bit thicker, but still within the reasonable margin. As you can see, there is no cracking, no weird feeling. I'd say that the Open Acrylics versus regular acrylic paint, just in general, dry to a little bit matte, more matte finish. There is very little gloss. It's maybe like satin matte, right there, depending also on the color. The blue feels flatter than, for example, greens. And also, as soon as you mix them with white, those are mixed colors, and this is a pure color. The pure colors are more glossier than mixed with white. The white has almost no sheen to it, slight sheen, like as I said, maybe eggshell or satin, which is very nice. I think that is also a difference with a regular acrylic paint, but I still really like the finish. So as I said, if you struggle with drying time, or you're looking for a very nice acrylic paint that works like oil in use, I really do recommend Golden Open. If it's still not your option, but you're looking for something to slow the drying time of acrylics, I will also link to some methods that you can use. I would still recommend using acrylic medium or extender or slow drying medium. I think Liquitex has it, and it will extend the drying time of your paint without sacrificing the color and the composition of acrylic paint too much. But yes, I hope this answered some of your questions about Golden Open acrylics, and I would definitely use them again. I do recommend them and using for painting, especially landscape, traditional painting, portraits, still life, which is very nice. I would probably not use them for abstract painting because, well, that would be a waste of expensive paint, unless you work with very fine details and you really need to focus on an area of your painting without worrying about drying time. Yeah, thank you for watching.